a quick review of some rail mounting systems for the Ruger Tactical Mini-14. This is the ATI stock I have on this. Has a flash suppressor on the front. This is one of the newer minis that was that came out of the retooling that happened in 2008-2009. So anyway, the Ruger Tactical Mini-14 comes with some scope rings, which work very well if you want to put a standard scope up above. But if you want a rail right on top there, you have some limited options. The first thing I tried was this side mounting rail. It's a Weaver rail, has this screw-in attachment right on the side there. And the way you mount that is, let me clear this weapon before I grab it. So what you do, this little plate right here, you slide that out. Right inside that is the spring and the mechanism for this bolt release. And then this goes right into another little plate that you insert in there that comes with this rail. And then you just screw onto that. What I didn't like about it at first is that it took a lot of fiddling to get it level front to back using these little set screws. And then it always seemed to be leaning a little bit to the side no matter how I adjusted it. I think it had to do with this plate being a small, thin plate, and it just wasn't perfectly engineered. Plus, this little bolt release extension did not line up very well with the bolt release on the gun, and it wasn't long enough, so I'd have to fiddle sometimes to release the bolt from there. So after a while I said, forget it. And then what happened after I used it the last couple times is each time I would try to tighten this screw and then take it back off, it would strip a little bit, and after about 5 or 6 positionings and removals, it stripped out completely. So the quality on this one wasn't very good, but I think the design wasn't quite right for what I was doing. So the next thing I tried was this Mini-14 rail system. It's just a Ruger Ranch Rifle Weaver rail. It has 4 screws on each side, and that sets right into those little indentations that the standard scope rings that come with the Mini-14 go into. I found that was much more stable. It was very flat, and I didn't have any positioning problems with it. The only problem with it is that where the rounds eject, this created a little bit too tight of a space right there. And so what I ended up having to do, well, what happened is I had a couple of shells get caught in that space, only 1 or 2 out of about 200 rounds. But what I ended up doing was taking the grinder, just getting rid of this little corner and this edge right here. I'm not sure you can see that where I ground it. I do need to paint that up so it doesn't get any more worn. And I've had no problems with shells ejecting out through that space now. And it's a lot easier to use the bolt release on the other side. So I found that this is a much better option if you want a rail right over the bolt of the gun. The optic I have on here is a Trijicon ACOG. It has both a telescopic sight and a reflex sight on it. It's a very nice piece that my friend let me borrow. So anyway, you'll hopefully this was helpful in picking out a rail to go on your Mini-14, and enjoy it.